Hey guys, thanks for joining me on another client interview. We have Mark from Chiro Jump here. He's killing the Chiro space in the agency space right now, which he's doing an awesome job. Mark, give me a really quick introduction about Chiro Jump, how you guys have been getting along, and just a bit of an overview.
Yeah, so essentially, we don't really like to qualify us as really like in the agency space necessarily. We really like to think of us as like a growth coaching company and help Kairos really with main focus helping them get more freedom time-wise, financially, and just help them grow their practices. So with all that in mind, we offer a variety of different services, marketing, sales, lots of different things depending on what they need. But that's kind of our main goal in the space.
Yeah, I love that, man. It's funny. I always say agency space, but you're right. Like so many agencies now, like it's kind of a negative connotation, right? Because like so many chiropractors have worked with agencies, and it's just this horrible thing. So I always say agency space, but yeah, you're right, man. Like I should probably reword that sometimes because it does sound a little bit bad sometimes. I fully get it. And so, what was it like? Obviously, you joined back in I think August. We said right. So you joined back in August. Been in here for about 5 6 months now, which is awesome. What was it like before joining CCM? Like, what kind of problems were you guys having?
Yeah, so a huge issue that we were having before CCM is just we weren't making data-driven decisions. We had no data on the client fulfillment side, and we were kind of just um, throwing and seeing whatever sticks. All right, and because of that, we realized like, hey, we got to actually get some data, start making data-driven decisions, so that we can improve our product and improve what we do. And so that's really why we came to you guys and really sought you guys out.
Yeah, man. People don't do that. People never do that with the agency space. So I speak to obviously a lot of people on my coaching calls, like in the other groups that I'm in, and people will come to me and say, be like, "Hey, man, I've got this problem." I'm like, "Okay, what's your booking rate for that client?" Oh, I have to go look at it. I had one guy the other day that was like, "Yeah, I've got to go. I have got the information, but I've got to go find it." And I was like, "If you have to go find information, like it's gonna take you longer than like 10 seconds to find it, then that's not an important enough metric for yourself, and you're not going to look at it." So it does like going into the goal high level count and like counting the number of appointments and then counting the number like you're never gonna look at it, right? Like you're literally never gonna look at that information. It takes you have it so like free, you can literally just click on a few buttons and find it. Otherwise, there's no point, right? So yes, what was the thing that made you realize you needed that?
Um, I think it came to the point. Well, one, I feel like it's funny how you said in the agency space, yeah, most people don't care about like really dialing in their product. I feel like most everyone's just acquisition oriented and
Yeah,
just trying to
piff,
grow
piff,
as
piff,
fast
piff.
as possible. Exactly. They're trying to grow sales focus, grow as fast as possible, but they're not trying to stay in the long run. Like I don't know what the average like business stays around for, but it's not very high. I wouldn't say in the agency space necessarily for most agencies. And so we're just trying to grow, focus on like long-term growth, not just short-term growth. And the main thing that really drove us to it is we just listen to Alex Ramosi a lot, and all the time he's like data-driven decisions, and it's like
Yeah.
a lot of entrepreneurs don't talk about that, and we realize that's important, and so we just thought like, hey, we need to figure this out, and it was just the right timing because we started getting some extra cash flow that we could invest back into our product. So.
Love that. Yeah, I think you guys were referred by Elijah, right? Did you come through? Was it Elijah? Yeah, I love
Yep.
Elijah. Shout out to Elijah if you're watching this. I'm sure you're probably not, but if you are, yeah, awesome. Yeah, no, I love that, man. It's and the data is like you said. Once you have that information, it becomes such an easy puzzle to solve. Like once you know what your actual retention rate is, once you know what your show rate is for your clients, your booking rate, your even your caller stats, right? You can actually see what the problems are and then fix them. So yeah, I love that. And what do you think the biggest impact CCM has had on Chiro Jump as a whole?
Um, I could say a couple of things. Some of the biggest things, one would be on our call center. We didn't really have a structure or system for our call center. When we first started, we only had one SDR, and then we're up at five now. And without that system, it would probably be really difficult to manage all of our SDRs. And we just would have had to learn from trial and error instead of like starting off with kind of what's been keeping us more efficient and helping us scale. So that was definitely helpful on the call center end, as well as coaching, hiring, managing different tips like that, which was awesome. So that's a big thing. And then on the data side, honestly, like I learned a lot with with some of the automations in Make and Go High Level and how data works and going through the whole course and everything. I learned a lot personally, to where I feel like I can apply this knowledge a little bit if I need to, and to make my own things like that. I've definitely used it. Um,
Yeah.
so those are some of the biggest ways, honestly, I would say, is helping me grow and then helping the call center grow for sure.
Yeah, that's what I've tried to do in the program, right? It's like try to really explain how each of the parts work. It's like I know we definitely templatize things and we give you like a lot of blueprints and all that kind of stuff, but for me, it's really important for you to understand exactly how does this connect to this and how's that connect. And it sounds a bit maybe boring if you're watching this, but once you understand how to use, for example, like webhooks properly, right, and how to use like Make and Zapier and all that, and how you can connect it all together, and like you can start doing some really cool stuff in your agency. A lot of automations, a lot of reporting, a lot of just data stuff in general. And just making your again, it all comes down to the product, right? Like I don't obviously you can vouch for this. Like I don't teach anything about sales in the program. I don't teach anything about like how to find clients. Like it's not an agency course in that sense. It's like how do you just get your product a lot better so your clients stay paying you money, right? I think that's such an important thing. Like you said, most agency owners don't focus on that. They focus on client acquisition. They focus on the Stripe screenshot. But I tell you what, dude, the sexy Stripe screenshot is when your clients pay you and they don't stop paying you, and then it just becomes this a snowball of like money coming into your bank account every month. That's the sexy thing, you know. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, how hard did you find all that to implement when you were going through learning all this technical stuff and whatever? Like, how hard did you find it?
Um, from 1 to 10, probably give it like a, I don't know. It took time. I'd probably give it like somewhere around a 5, maybe a 6, maybe 7, somewhere around there. It's pretty self-explanatory when it comes to the videos and like implementing it. But there are always, if there's one thing I learned with automations, there are always issues that are going to come up. And so it's just a matter of like, hey, you have to understand that and you just have to put time into fixing them. And I can say that it was really helpful having coaching calls to hop on and talk with you, Aaron, and just figure out all the little bugs or things that are going on, things like
Yeah,
that.
man. Yeah. Yeah, even when I build out my own systems for my stuff, like my new stuff, like every day, like when I build a new system, I have to check it every day because I know there's gonna be bugs that are gonna creep in. It's just like when you're connecting things together, like it happens, and so you've got to be on top of it. And that's also why I have the coaching calls, right? Like I have a coaching call every single day because I know that you can jump on if you need it, if you got any help with anything, like whatever. If I didn't do that, just to be honest with you, selfishly, if I didn't do that, people would quit CCM like fast because they would start
100%.
going through the stuff and yeah, and then they would be like, and obviously, like the videos are pretty, like I said, self-explanatory. But if you do run into an issue, if you had to wait a week to get help on that, you kind of get to the point where you're like, oh fuck this, like I'm not doing this anymore, right? So you knowing that you've got a call at whatever time zone it is for you, 12 p.m., 11 a.m., whatever it is, um, it's just like, bam, cool, I'll just jump on that later on, and it kind of relieves that um frustration of something not working, you know, which I think is really important. Yeah, cool. And what kind of fears or worries did you have about CCM? So obviously you were referred, so it's probably a little bit of an easier decision for you. But did you have any concerns before jumping in?
To be honest, before jumping in, not really. Yeah, like you said, since we were referred, I mean, Elijah, he already had it built out. He showed us what it looked like, and he was like, and it looked pretty good. And he said it was all working for him, and so didn't really have much to worry about there.
Yeah, cool. That's why referrals are the best, right? Like, and that's again kind of touching on that on the product being good. If you've got a good product, like all of a sudden you get referrals and everything becomes way easier. The product having the good product is key. I'm curious,
Mhm.
do you get with you're obviously in the Cairo space, like do you guys get a lot of referrals or do you guys do anything to try and get referrals? Because I've always wondered about that, like trying to get referrals, if you should push for it or if you should let them come naturally. Do you guys do anything for that or not really?
Um, I think, I mean, ideally, we've got multiple methods of acquisition, and so we are hitting that. Um, but yeah, like just yesterday, actually, or maybe a couple days ago, we launched a little referral rewards program, and we're getting some traction there. It's the first time we've actually done it,
Love that,
which is cool
man.
to have like a giveaway that we're doing, and we've had some chiros interested. So besides that, we've had a couple referrals. just from like a more passive benefits
Yeah.
benefits that we offer for referrals. But um, in general, we're not mostly like referral based
I
driven.
always think that like everyone goes on about them, and I always wonder like because like we get a few, but we it's definitely not our primary source, right?
Mm.
And so I always wonder like what people are doing, but we talk about it another time anyway. But yeah, and then and what kind of were your favorite parts of the program? I know you've already touched upon the benefits of it. What was there anything in particular that stood out that was like this was like my favorite part of everything?
Yeah. Um, Honestly, like one of the biggest things probably is the SDRs and the systems that we put in place for them. Because I mean, if we didn't have those systems, I'm pretty confident it would be and starting from square one and iterating and trying to figure out what they should be would have taken some time. And then the coaching on hiring and managing SDRs was pretty clutch. Just because we were starting from kind of square one in that space. I used to be the SDR and then we started hiring and managing other ones. And so we just needed to kind of figure it out. So that was probably the best thing I would say for sure.
Cool, man. I love that. Yeah, I get such a mixed bag of responses on that because some people were like, most people were like, yeah, I love the reporting, but we get a bunch of people that are like, oh, I love this part, or and but the hiring and stuff. Like, um, yeah, man, I'm glad that you like that. I always when you build something out like this, I always get concerned that the things I've built aren't good enough. That's probably just a thing, it's just a limiting belief on my thing. But yeah,
For
no,
sure.
I'm glad you like it. Was there anything in particular about the hiring? Was it like the how to find the setters? Was it more of the training? Was there anything? What was the kind of the key thing?
A lot of things there. Like one, it sounds super basic, but just like to having the different Slack chats and the systems in Slack were
Yeah,
pretty helpful. And then the systems for like watch shift calls versus not watch shift, and then power dialer, all of that was pretty clutch. And then I know Chris, who's my brother, works in the business with me, found the hiring really valuable too. So
yeah. I think that's the thing as well. Like a lot of people, they'll hire an ISA and they think it's just a case of like telling them, hey, just do this and everything's going to work. But it's like there's so much accountability, so many systems. Like if you just let people just do their own thing, things just won't get done. It'll just be an absolute mess, right? So
yeah.
yeah, it's you guys were really smart in that sense. Like you guys knew when you were doing the calling yourself, you immediately joined the CCM rather than trying to. A lot of people try and do it on their own first, and they waste months and months and months and just like get themselves in a bad way. Um,
hmm
yeah, cool. And then what kind of things would you say to recommend CCM to people that are potentially watching this video? Maybe they're on the fence. What kind of things would you say to them?
Yeah. If you're looking to improve your product and make data-driven decisions and not just throw stuff at the wall and hope it sticks, then it would be a good course to join. You're going to learn a lot. You are going to have to put in time and invest a decent amount of time into make this work. Um, and show up on coaching calls and make sure that you're doing everything you need to do on your part because it isn't done for you. They're just going to do everything for you. You need to put in the work.
Yep.
But if you do put in the work for the most part, you'll learn a lot, and you'll get a good return for your investment. So I'd recommend it
Yeah. Awesome, man. Cool. Well, Mark, you're a star. I really appreciate you coming on and going through all this stuff and kind of giving your feedback on how you found everything. Um, I'll see you on the next coaching call, man. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll catch up soon. Yeah.
for sure.
Thanks, man. Bye.